Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vrajajara Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vrajajara Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Ashtotara Srimad, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Samstapakacharya, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So this morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, chapter 6, titled Creation of the Universal Form, text 29. Tārtīyena svabhāvena bhagavan-nābhim āśritāḥ ubhayor antaram vyoma ye rudra-pārṣadāṁ gaṇāḥ tārtīyena svabhāvena bhagavan-nābhim āśritāḥ ubhayor antaram vyoma ye rudra-pārṣadāṁ gaṇāḥ tārtīyena svabhāvena bhagavan-nābhim āśritāḥ ubhayor antaram vyoma ye rudra-pārṣadāṁ gaṇāḥ tārtīyena svabhāvena bhagavan-nābhim āśritāḥ ubhayor antaram vyoma ye rudra-pārṣadāṁ gaṇāḥ ye rudra-pārṣadāṁ gaṇāḥ tārtīyena svabhāvena āśritāḥ gaṇāḥ. Ladies, tārtīyena svabhāvena bhagavan-nābhim āśritāḥ ubhayor antaram vyoma ye rudra-pārṣadāṁ gaṇāḥ tārtīyena svabhāvena tārtīyena, by excessive development of the third mode of material nature, the mode of ignorance, svabhāvena, by such nature, bhagavat-nābhim, the abdominal navel of the gigantic form of the Personality of Godhead, āśritāḥ, those who are so situated, ubhayoḥ, between the two. Antaram, in between. Vyoma, the sky. Ye, all of whom. Rudra-pārṣadāṁ, associates of Rudra. gaṇāḥ, population. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada. Jai Śrīla Prabhupada. Translation: living entities who are associates of Rudra develop in the third mode of material nature or ignorance. They are situated in the sky between the earthly planets and the heavenly planets. Purport: the middle portion of the sky is called Bhuvarloka, as confirmed by both Srila Viśvanātha Cakravartī and Srila Jīva Gosvāmī. In Bhagavad-gītā, it is stated that those who develop in the mode of passion are situated in the middle region. Those who are situated in the mode of goodness are promoted to the regions of the demigods. Those who are situated in the mode of passion are placed in human society, and those who are situated in the mode of ignorance are placed in the society of animals or ghosts. There are no contradictions in this conclusion. Numerous living entities are distributed all over the universe in different planets and are so situated in terms of their own qualities in the modes of material nature. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to Canto 3, Chapter 6, in the matter of creation of the universal form, text 29. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shlakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Caitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tamsa Jivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanasaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swamini Namine Nama Acharya Padayana Taikripa Pradayine Gaura Katha Damadaya Nagragramatharine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Gopi Paranadana Dase Itinamine Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Mukam Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Bande Shri Gurudinatarinam Yatkripatamaham Bande Paramanandamadhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Katanchana Smrite Yasmin Dushkaram Sukaram Bhavet Vismrite Viparitam Syat Shri Chaitanyam Namamitam. So, in this text, the translation, it is explained that the associates of Rudra are situated in the sky between the earthly planets and the heavenly planets. And then it is explained that the middle portion of the sky is called Bhuvarloka. So that there are two classifications of the planetary system. One is the classification of three, where you have Swarloka, the highest, then you have Bhuvar, then you have Bhuloka. So here the classification, the threefold classification is what is being referred to here. So Bhuvarloka is situated in between the Swarloka and the Bhuloka. But if in the 14 planetary system classification. Then Earth is in the middle. Okay. And here it is explained that the associates of Rudra in the third mode of material nature or ignorance are above the Bhuvarloka. They are in the Bhuvarloka. So, how do we reconcile this whole thing? That, okay, it says the residents of the earthly realm are in the middle, they are in the mode of passion. But here you find associates of Rudra who develop in the mode of ignorance are in Bhuvarloka. So let me make it a little bit more complicated. If this is not enough, and then I'll try to speak on it. So let me just go ahead to the 10th chapter of the 3rd canto, text 28 and 29. So there it speaks about the creation of the demigods. There are 8 varieties of demigods. Of course, in the English translation is number 1 is given as demigods itself, but the Sanskrit, there's a specific name to that category. It's called Vibhuda. So second is the forefathers. Third, the asuras or demons. They're classified among the demigods. 4, the Gandharvas and Apsaras or angels. 5, the Yakshas and Rakshasas. 6, the Siddhas, Charanas and Vidyadharas. 7, the Bhutas, Pretas and Pishachas. And 8, the superhuman beings, celestial singers, etc. All are created by Brahma, the creator of the universe. The purport to this is important. Purport. As explained in the 2nd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Siddhas are inhabitants of Siddhaloka, where the residents travel in space without vehicles. Without vehicles. All their, at their mere will, they can pass from one planet to another without difficulty. Therefore, in the upper planets, the inhabitants are far superior to the inhabitants of this planet in all matters of art, culture and science, since they possess brains superior to those of human beings. Then Prabhupada explains, the spirits and jinn mentioned in this connection are also counted among the demigods because they are able to perform uncommon functions not possible for men. So there are 8 varieties of demigods in which the Bhutas, Pretas and Pisachas are also classified. So that gives us a clue about the verse that we are dealing with today. But how do we understand this? First of all, to get any uncommon credit, uncommon ability in this world, in this universe or any other universe within the material existence, to get any uncommon function, one has to have pious credits. Without pious credits, there is no question of having uncommon credits. So, here it is mentioned that what uncommon credits do people of this world, in this planet, what uncommon credits do we have? Nothing. Very ordinary. Whereas these entities which are mentioned here, they have uncommon credits. For example, Ravana. Yeah, he could fight with the demigods. Of course, when it says demigods here, the Rakshasas or the Asuras, okay, let's put it Asuras here. They're a species. As a species, they're superior to human beings. That's what it means. you always have the fight between the devas and the asuras. We cannot even see the devas, forget about fighting with them. So when it says that, so we know that they are superior to human beings in their abilities. So obviously, they have higher pious credits than us. That's why they are there. That's why they have those abilities. Now, the problem comes when we try to understand their position in terms of the planetary systems. So, just like Prabhupada explains, in this material world, the villages are in the mode of goodness. Then you have the cities in the mode of passion. Then within the cities you have the liquor houses and the brothels, which are in the mode of ignorance. So even within this world, we find these classifications. So for example, in astrology, astrologers say, when they match charts, they say, okay, which category do you belong to? Do you belong to the devas? Do you belong to the human beings? Or do you belong to the rakshasas? I mean, that's for ordinary human beings. So what does this mean? So within each realm of existence, it's not that there is only one class of living beings. Within each realm of existence, there are varieties of living beings. And so Prabhupada says there are no contradictions in this conclusion. I can't explain all the details of it, because I myself don't understand it fully. But the principle is that numerous living entities are distributed all over the universe in different planets and are so situated in terms of their own qualities in the modes of material nature. Which means that even as we find within the earth, there is somebody, you could say, a Brahmana is in the mode of goodness. But then we can say that this world is a world of passion. So how can you say that somebody is in the mode of goodness? So like this, within each realm, there are classifications. So whenever we read these verses, we should look at it from the overall context. We may not understand the overall context, but at least there is a context. With advancement, we may be able to perceive something. So for the purposes of this class and our discussion, let's focus on a few things which we can grasp. So, which is that in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Sanatana Gosvāmī explains that those who perform nishkama, and they offer all their activities to the Supreme Lord, please remember this, are inferior to the demigods. This is what Sanatana Gosvāmī explains. So, first of all, demigods are not ordinary people. We may have a certain conception of them from a superficial reading, but if we read carefully, then we'll understand in greater detail. For example, we all hear about the exploits of Indra. And we think, what is this? He is the king of the heavenly planets. What kind of exploits are these? However, we should remember that Shukadeva Goswami, while presenting the Bhagavatam, he is trying to reject, as it is mentioned right in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, all kinds of cheating processes are being rejected. So, even a personality as exalted as Indra could perform these kind of activities. So this is the problem with material life. So, but these activities are not everyday activities or common activities of Indra. These are relatively rare activities. But Shukadeva Goswami, from the perspective of the Bhagavatam, he highlights these things. So Prabhupada sometimes warns in the Bhagavatam This should not be taken as a license for imitation. Because these are not ordinary personalities. First of all, he is the king of heaven. A king of heaven is far more pious than any resident of this earthly planet. In fact, we have no access to the earthly, heavenly planets. In fact, Sadaputa Prabhu mentions that there are beings who are similar to earthly beings. For example, the Kim Purushas. So, we may be able to access those kind of living entities. But does not mean that we can accept all kinds of living entities. So, when we look at the entities of this universe, we should always remember this whenever you think about all the planetary systems and the inhabitants of the planetary systems. Please always use this verse which I referred to from the canto chapter 10 of the third canto. We are here in sixth chapter, but in 10th chapter, you have these verses. So, if you use this as the point of reference, then we'll always keep things in perspective. I'll read that again. The creation of the demigods is of 8 varieties. Number 1, as mentioned in the Sanskrit, it is Vibhuda. 2, the forefathers. 3, the asuras or demons. 4, the Gandharvas and Apsaras or angels. 5, the Yakshas and Rakshasas. 6, the Siddhas, Charanas and Vidyadharas. 7, the Bhutas, Pretas and Pishachas. And 8, the superhuman beings, celestial singers, etc. And Prabhupada ends the purport by saying, the spirits and jinn mentioned in this connection are also counted among the demigods because they are able to perform uncommon functions not possible for men. Which means that the pious credits that they have, first of all, this is referring to a species. So, the pious credit that these species have is definitely higher than the pious credits that human beings have. That's why they are referred to as demigods. Deva Sargaha. They are referred to as Deva Sargaha, the category of the demigods. But how their distribution is in this whole universe in terms of the middle, higher and upper planetary systems, that's a topic which is very difficult for us to comprehend. As I gave the example, within each realm, there are modes of goodness, passion and ignorance. Like the village is in the mode of goodness, the city is in the mode of passion, and then you have the brothels and the liquor houses are in the mode of ignorance. So, within each realm, the 3 modes are there. And you have people also. You're classified as Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. Although this is the realm of passion. So, like that, within each realm, you have varieties of living entities, which Prabhupada speaks about in today's verse, where he says that there is no contradiction. How there is no contradiction is a difficult topic, which will take an extensive study of the 5th canto and all these, including the 3rd canto. To reconcile all of it is not ordinary, it's quite extraordinary. But we can understand the principle, which is that there are no contradictions in this conclusion. Numerous living entities are distributed all over the universe in different planets and are so situated in terms of their own qualities in the modes of nature. So, coming back to what Sanatana Goswami mentions. So, he says that in the Bhagavatamrita that the Nishkama devotee who offers everything to the Supreme Lord, all his activities, is inferior to the demigods. So, then what is our position? Our position. So, we should understand that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all our acharyas, wants us to be the exception. It's a fact. It's a fact because to attain prema is not ordinary, it's extraordinary. Therefore, in the preface to the Bhagavad-gītā, Srila Prabhupada concludes by saying, even if one person becomes a pure devotee, there the pure devotee refers to the perfected pure devotee. That means one who's attained love of Godhead, not the practicing pure devotees. So there, if one person becomes a pure devotee, my entire movement is successful. So, to attain love of Godhead is not an ordinary endeavor. It's extraordinary. So, when Prabhupada, as I was explaining a little while earlier, so when Prabhupada explains, when Shukadeva Goswami explains the exploits of Indra, these are rare. This is not the general Indra. In general, he is a very pious being. That's why he is the king of the heavenly planets. So, Shukadeva Goswami emphasizes on these things to show us material world is a dangerous place. So, even someone as exalted as the king of heaven could get sidetracked. So, do not think of this world as nice. And our Acharyas, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, very clearly explains that this is good, that is bad. These are all illusions. Everything is bad. But that does not mean that adharma and dharma are equal. No. Adharma is far inferior to dharma. There is a classification. But so when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami speaks like that, he is just speaking in relation to bhakti. And it clearly means that those who are practitioners of bhakti are by definition free from sinful activities. Like all the scriptures of the world, what do they prescribe? Give up adharma. Give up adharma. That's what all the scriptures of the world prescribe. But what does Bhagavad-gītā prescribe? Give up dharma. What kind of scripture is that? So that's unique to the Bhagavad-gītā. It prescribes giving up dharma. Now who is this being recommended to? Arjuna is in the family of the Pandavas. And Sanatana Goswami in the Bhagavatamrita explains that these are all the personifications of dharma. Of course, the head among them is Dharmaraj, Yudhishthira. But all the 5 Pandavas, they are personifications of dharma. This is, they know what is dharma. So the instruction to give up dharma is given to someone like Arjuna. So when we in the Krishna consciousness movement read the verse Sarva Dharman Paritejya, it is not a license that okay, we can give up dharma. So adharma also sometimes okay. No. Adharma is never okay. First of all, we have to come to the platform of Sarva Adharman Paritejya. Then we come to the platform of Sarva Dharman Paritejya. Otherwise, it's a complete mess. It simply creates a disturbance in the path of bhakti. So, when Srila Prabhupada introduced the Krishna consciousness movement, Ravindra Sarup Prabhu has nicely traced it. You can see how Srila Prabhupada strongly emphasized Bhagavad Bhakti, the practice of pure devotional service. And he did not consider that Varnashrama was even relevant for the practitioners of the Krishna consciousness movement in the initial stages. But when sannyasis started falling down, you can see that conversation. Prabhupada explains the rationale why he is speaking about Varnashrama Dharma. That's when Prabhupada starts speaking about it. So there he says that Vaishnava means one who never falls down. If they are Vaishnavas, why are they falling down? So then he says, therefore Varnashrama is needed. So to prevent adharma, there is no such thing as a Vaishnava who can also commit sinful activities. But then we can say, okay, there is apiche, sudaracha, but that's a very rare thing. That is meant for accidental, very rare. It cannot be a regular feature of life. That's referring to something rare. But if it becomes regular, there is a problem. And Prabhupada identified that problem. So he said, okay, let devotees practice Krishna consciousness without committing sinful activities. So his concept was of Varnashram is very different from the concept of Varnashram that is there in the Vedic civilization. In Vedic civilization, the concept of Varnashram is you have a desire for material enjoyment. Okay, enjoy. This is the way to enjoy. And gradually you can progress. But Prabhupada's concept was very different. He explains that when one of his sannyasis, who Prabhupada is very fond of, a leading preacher, when he fell down, that's when Prabhupada is writing the Gajendra and the crocodile purport. So there he writes that if one is not able to be situated in the sannyas ashram, it is fine if one takes up the grihastha ashram. Then he explains the purpose, the point is, wherever one can be enthusiastic to fight Maya, one should be. So wherever one is strong to fight Maya. So that is Prabhupada's idea behind even speaking about Varnashrama. And so the idea was that devotees are falling down into sinful activities. So if they are able to be in a situation where they are strong to practice pure devotion service, then that should be introduced. But Prabhupada very specifically mentions, repeatedly, you cannot refer to someone as a Brahmana Vaishnava, Kshatriya Vaishnava, Vaishya Vaishnava, Shudra Vaishnava. No, Prabhupada's idea was Vaishnava is above all of this. Vaishnava may be doing something, I mean a Brahminical activity or a Kshatriya activity, but does not mean that he can be classified among that. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when people would go to the Gaudiya Mutt, he had his leading sannyasis, but he had also advanced grihasthas. He would make his leading sannyasis offer obeisances to the advanced grihasthas, establishing that he was the one who introduced Varnashrama anyway, by the way. I mean, he was the one who introduced sannyas itself. There's no concept of sannyas in the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. It was, it was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur who introduced it. So even though he was the one who introduced it, he clearly emphasized the point that advancement in Krishna consciousness is the criteria. People may be doing different things so that they can be strongly situated. But it is advancement that we look at, not what they are specifically doing. So, I mean, I don't recollect who it was, but there is somebody who comes to the Gaudiya Mutt, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he's a learned person. He refers him to the gardener, and he says you can learn bhakti from him. You know, so he's a gardener. What kind of activity it is? It's not like some exalted activity, but he says you learn bhakti from him. So the idea is that pure bhakti is rare, okay? But in the name of pure bhakti, we do not have a license to do whimsical things. Yes, we have been given the highest process by Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, by Srila Prabhupada, by our acharyas. But we do not have the right to claim, okay, we are better than the demigods, we are this, we are that, nothing. We are actually very, very ordinary people. In fact, very fallen. In fact, as it says, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy is given to the most fallen. Narottam Das Thakur sings, I am the most fallen. So we should not make the mistake of thinking, oh, who is Indra? He made so many mistakes. You know, but this is not how we look at these great beings. They're all very great beings. But we have been given the great fortune of being in Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. And if we understand the value of that great fortune, then we will not commit sinful activities. Because that is one of the offenses to the holy name, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. So, as practitioners of Krishna consciousness, we cannot take it for granted. Oh, we are in Kali Yuga. This happens, we keep falling down. But no problem. No, fall down is a problem. We need to come to the stage of steadiness, Nishtha. We need to come to that stage. It is not that, oh, it's Kali Yuga. Prabhupada said, chant 16 rounds, follow the 4 regulative principles. We're all going back to Godhead. This is a big illusion. This is not what Prabhupada said. Prabhupada said, chant 16 rounds offenselessly and follow the 4 regulative principles. That is the correct version of reality. Everything else is illusion. Somehow if we chant 16 rounds, somehow if we follow the 4 regulative principles, despite struggling here and there and every time, and then we are going back to Godhead. Then we'll create a philosophy like the Sahajiyas. Then everything will go. Everything doesn't go. Prabhupada is very clear that chant 16 rounds offenselessly. And if you look at the 10 offenses, you cannot avoid any of the offenses without being steeply, without clearly understanding the science of Krishna, which is Bhagavat Vidya. Okay, Krishna, because, let's take for example, not to commit the first offense is to blaspheme the devotees who've dedicated their life to the chanting of the holy name and spreading of the holy names. How will we know what is the significance of that if we do not have the Bhakti Shastras? The Bhakti Shastras give us the significance of that. What is the value of a devotee? Similarly, you take any of the offenses, every offense to disobey the instruction of the spiritual master, Guru Avagnya. So this Bhakti Shastras explain why is it important to follow? What happens if you don't follow? So all the offenses can be avoided. We can chant offenselessly only when we take shelter of the Bhakti Shastras. That's why it said that Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu came to give us three things, which is Bhagavad Vidya, Bhakti Yoga and Vairagya. Of course, he didn't come to give Vairagya separately, but he demonstrated that those who are, as it is explained, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains, Mahaprabhu Bhakta Ganer Vairagya Pradhan, which means that the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have no interest in material enjoyment. This is a characteristic of all followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If we think that let's make it good in this world, Bhakti Yoga is so nice, we can make it very good in this world and at the same time practice Hare Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna. That's a problem. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, all the acharyas teach, this place is not a place fit for a gentleman. This is an abominable place. This is the vision of a devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, we the members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, when we read about all these denizens of the different planetary systems, especially all these devas and all that, we cannot ridicule them. They are not ordinary beings. In fact, they are very devoted to the Supreme Lord. That's why they have been given very, very responsible positions. We know that even in this material world, no responsible position is given to someone we don't trust. All positions are given to people who are trusted. So someone like King of Heaven, it's not an ordinary position. It's a position of great trust. So Krishna has trusted the person who is given that position. So these are all, there is no comparison between us and all the demigods. So we should always consider that we are very fallen. We are very fallen. But somehow, by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, somehow by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, we have been placed in the most exalted path. That is why it says that if one wants to examine something miraculous or wonderful, try to understand the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, if you understand the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, vichar korile pabe chitta chamatkar, Krishna Goswami says, if you want to analyze something miraculous, try to analyze the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we should always be conscious of this fact. We are products of mercy. We have no qualification. And that's why Prabhupada repeatedly says, in this Bhagavatam purports, everywhere, in his lectures he says, whenever it speaks about the exploits of the demigod, they're doing something which is strange or which is not recommended, then he says we should not imitate, thinking, oh, he can do, I can also do. No, we are nowhere actually. So, if we have to attain the goal of life, Krishna Prema in this life, first of all we should understand that we are very fallen. In the universal scheme of things, we are very fallen. And unless we tightly hold on to the teachings, the Bhakti Shastras, as presented by Srila Prabhupada, then we will not be able to navigate the path of Bhakti. And unless we navigate the path of Bhakti properly, we will not be able to attain love of Godhead. So the first requirement for it is to tightly hold on to the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. That is why he said, books are the basis. Books are the basis. And he has explained in such a comprehensive manner. it is very difficult to not understand the basic truths. Sometimes people think that Srila Prabhupada's words are repetitive. But it's not repetitive. It is repetitive for the mundane mind. For example, if you look at great compositions like Beethoven and others, for the ordinary mind will not be able to understand the significance of it. But musicians understand. So, these are the Bhaktivedanta purports, which Prabhupada called his personal ecstasies. So, to understand his personal ecstasy, to be given full access into the realm of his personal ecstasies, we should first of all take it fully seriously and read it with a submissive attitude. That submissive attitude is very important, because when we come to the 5th canto, when we come to so many different things, we may think, oh, is this for real? But we know a different idea. When I studied in the university, the cosmology is a little different, you know. So could it be that all these great teachers, when it comes to explaining cosmology, things of this world, they're not so relevant? Maybe it is true, maybe it is not true, you know. But anyway, the main point is bhakti. You know, these kind of things, delusions can come unless we read with proper attitude. Because if we just examine Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, he's lying in an ocean. There is, I mean, we are talking about creation in the universal form, generally in creation. So you have a lotus which springs from his navel. And where are the planetary systems situated? They're all situated on the stem of the navel. Sorry, stem of the lotus. The lotus flower stems from his navel, and on the stem of the lotus is the planetary systems. Garbhodaka Sky Vishnu is fully spiritual. The planets are material. Is the it is coming from his navel, right? So is the lotus material, spiritual? What is it? You know, how do you even comprehend these kind of subject matters? So that's why this attempt to think this is material and we can comprehend it, this is spiritual. In fact, Prabhupada says there's nothing called material. Everything is the play of the energy of the Lord. So unless we read with a proper attitude, you know, so we'll not be able to grasp the Bhaktivedanta purports. I'm saying this because recently, just last week, I was quite shocked when we were having a discussion. It's for a marriage alliance, you know. And so there, the couple, they were saying, oh, so many things that are mentioned in the Bhagavatam, they're not relevant. They're, you know, some of the purports. I was shocked to hear this. I mean, it's not very uncommon anyway. So I was shocked to hear that, although I've heard it before, but to hear it directly from a new generation, they're saying, oh, you know, Prabhupada is brought up with a certain worldview, and that worldview is reflected in the Bhagavatam. So those things which reflect his worldview should not be taken very seriously. You know, so these are all, first of all, where are we? You know, we're nobody in the universal scheme of things. On top of that, we think we're very intelligent. Our intelligence is very meager, actually, very, very meager compared to Brahma and all the great demigods. And it's said that Krishna cannot be conceived, Shiva Virinchinu, even Shiva and Brahma cannot understand Lord Krishna. And it's explained even the pure devotees of the Lord are also inconceivable. You cannot understand the activities of a pure devotee. You cannot understand the mind of a pure devotee. You can, in the sense that what the teachings you can understand. But what is their position cannot be comprehended. What is their glories cannot be comprehended. So when we study these chapters of the Bhagavatam, creation of the universal form, when we study the 5th canto, we should bear in mind that this is not an ordinary subject matter meant for human comprehension. No, it is meant for us, but we cannot just comprehend it based on our limited experience. As Prabhupada says, Kupa Mandoka Nyaya. We have been exposed to very little of this material world. Very little. And the more one controls one's senses, the more one perceives the universe. You know, that's a fact. The more one controls one's senses, the more one perceives the universe. And what kind of perception do mundane academic scholars have who have a lot of difficulty controlling their senses? Very limited, very, very limited. So when we approach the Bhaktivedanta purports, we're very conscious of this fact that we need to be fully accepting, and we should be devoted. Both. We should both accept and be devoted to it. Not accept somehow or the other. We should be devotedly accept it. Then, as it says, Krishna reveals himself. When the pure devotees reveal themselves. It's not that anybody who looks at a pure devotee understands he's a pure devotee. There are so many people who looked at Prabhupada, you don't understand he's a pure devotee. So, even the pure devotee, access to a pure devotee or the Lord depends on our attitude. Therefore, Prabhupada writes very clearly, advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. So, these are a few things which I just wanted to mention in regard to this chapter, in general the 5th canto and the Bhagavatam. Any comments, questions? Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, thank you for the wonderful class. You said that the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy is available to the most fallen.
Yes.
Regarding that point, does that mean like demigods like Indra, they are such an exalted state, they can never get access to the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Oh no, it's not referring to access or no access. It is referring to the glory of that mercy. The glory of that mercy. Usually, the person who is most fallen, or let's say for example in an examination, okay, the lower your marks, the lesser your chance of getting into a college, right? But here, the more fallen you are, Lord Chaitanya will immediately try to distribute it. Let me save him immediately. So that's what is being referred to. It's not that others don't have access. Everybody has access if they want to. But of course, it's going on in the earthly realm. So we have the phenomenon where, as Prabhupada said, in future, demigods will take birth in the Krishna conscious movement. So there is an endeavor to participate in the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. Radhesham Prabhu, you want to add something? You can add something. Okay, so if there are no questions, we can close for today. Thank you all very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanand.